Okay.
Sorry.
Make sure you can see this from here to here.
Okay.
Okay, you guys, is it live? Is it going?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You guys, I am so excited to be here tonight. I need to notify Chelsea. Roger, would you make sure Chelsea knows to notify everybody that we are going to be on here? We're on Facebook Live. Okay. So thanks for joining me, you guys. We are having technical difficulties as usual. So internet is not working right. So I turned off the internet, and then this is what's going to happen. We're going to be on Facebook Live. They are trying to get Webinar Jam working, and we are just going to go from here, okay? So I'm super excited about today. I'm going to give you a few announcements. Today we are going an hour and a half. Last time I kept you guys way too long. I'm going to do it way shorter this time, but that means I got to get through things quickly, which is good. I have a lot of questions that you guys have been asking. I'm going to go through those. First, I'll go through announcements. Then I'm going to go through a few questions from last time first. Then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about dynamic compression. Then I'm going to get right into how to fix it. By the time that we get to how to fix it, we'll probably be about 15, 20 minutes in, okay? So that gives you a gauge of what we're going to be doing. Now, announcements. Number one, the order of the videos on this Facebook group. Because this is what I'm noticing. A lot of people are asking questions, and it might be that some of these questions are coming up again because somebody's responding to the question that somebody asked a while ago, and then it pops to the top of the feed again. So I get that that happens, but as I'm going through some of the questions, it is also looking like we have new people who are asking questions of things that maybe we've already covered. And then I realized that the videos on the Facebook group, it's really hard to identify the order, how you should watch them. So just realize that we're getting a lot of questions of things that I have already covered in the previous videos, so I won't be answering those here. What you need to do is you need to go back and watch all of the videos in order. So those of you who are inviting some of your team to come and be a part of this, you've got to realize that they need to watch those other videos before they come here. They can watch, it's a link to YouTube, and you can speed it up, you guys. You can watch it in half the time if you want. So I do that all the time. So make sure that they do that, and realize also, some of you guys are gonna be diamonds or above. I'm training high-level leaders all the time, and what happens is, a lot of times we think that we think we understand the comp plan, and I'm not saying that you don't, but people think they understand it. Then I start going over a concept, and it doesn't make sense, and they think that that's not something you would ever choose to do, or they don't understand why that would matter. And then we cover information about the comp plan, or we kind of show some of the information that we've showed in the previous videos, and then they go, oh, I didn't realize that one piece. So even if you just have a piece or two missing, or that you have never had to deal with before, sometimes you need to go watch those just to make sure you're caught up. So today what I'll do is, I do not want to stop your questions. Ask your questions. But if you guys have questions that are things I've answered already in the previous ones, I'll try to identify that so that you can know, okay, go back and watch those. And I'm so sorry because, you guys, this is weeks of training and it's a lot of hours, but obviously I can't keep covering the same stuff for the people who have been here every week. Now, I want to make sure that you double check when the next trainings are, because this is number 5. Number 6 is still the same time we originally had said, but for those of you who didn't hear last week, the last one, number 7, is it's going to be on a Saturday instead of the Friday. We had to change that date, so double check, make sure you know the current dates so that you can save the date and the time. Also, it's very likely we will add an 8th week. If we do that, it's because the 8th week will be all about fixing your questions. And so what I want you to do, and working toward number 6 and number 7 week and number 8, what I need you to do is this. I need you guys to pull out a piece of paper, because the fixes that we are going to talk about, as I go through them, I don't want you to just write down the fixes. What I want you to do is I want you to write down, keep track of what the possible fixes are, but I want you to start writing down, thinking of your team. I want you to start writing down ideas that you have, because by the time we're done with the next few weeks, you are going to have a business plan, an outline that tells you exactly what chess moves you need to try to make so that you can fix the problems that you have. So would you turn off the AC? We turned it super low because these lights get really hot and it's noisy on the video. So they'll turn that off for me. Okay, few announcements. watch for the order of those videos. I know they weren't labeled very well, so we're gonna make sure those are labeled well. Olivia just posted a new post on the Facebook group that tells you all the videos in order, and the link is right there so that you can go to that. That's great. But we'll also label the individual videos too. Number two, those of you who were here last week, you know that we have a family that we're trying to help. It's kind of exciting, but we ran into a problem. I did not know that on Eventbrite, you can only donate $5 or more. What we're trying to do is have everybody in this group donate $1, and that way it's not a hardship for anyone, and get the word out to everybody that you can. Social media, I want to see how many thousands of dollars we can raise for this family. The link is on the Facebook group. Chelsea, why don't you post this information on the chat right now? Or, well, I guess we're not on the chat because they can't get that working. But post that on the Facebook group right now so that people can see that. And we'll also put a link on this video after we post it. So what happened is the family they have several children, 6 kids, I think. And about 6 months ago, the dad had heart problems and passed away. Amazing family, amazing dad, always serving, giving, helping. And so there was somebody set up a GoFundMe. So I totally understand. One of the things I like to say is I know there are a lot of people struggling. There's always somebody in a worse situation or in a more difficult situation. But I thought it would be fun to see. Let's see what we can do as a group. And if we can do something powerful, then we could do this maybe once or twice a year where everybody just gives $1. Now, if you want to give $5 or more, go to the link that's on this Facebook group. If you just want to give $1, because if people are asking for a lot, then it gets hard and people don't want to spread the word. But if it's just $1, most people can totally do that. So my team right now is working on something that will allow us to have $95 or $100. So 100 of you have donated, which is really awesome. That's a lot of people, 100 people. You fill a room full of 100, that's a lot. So thank you for your generosity, that was awesome. And I know a lot of you tried to go do it, but it wouldn't allow you. So we're working on that. Second thing I want to talk to you about is my new fast track training. You guys, I finished the last videos last night actually. I'll be recording those today as soon as we're done. Basic version of each video. So for example, if I teach you how to sample effectively, there's this short version where I just go boom, 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 do this, do this, do this. Then there's a long version, and I won't take much time, but I'm taking a little time right now to explain this because these will also be on YouTube for you for free. There'll be a long version that goes into total detail about why you're saying what you're saying, how to say it, what the people are thinking, and what response you're trying to create, the kind of thing you're trying to help them feel, because we don't want them to feel pressured. So those are long, but on the website, on the training site where you pay for it, there will be a second package that's bigger. It will probably be $347. That one you'll get all the basic videos, but I'm gonna be breaking down all the long videos. So for example, how to teach a class. Within how to teach a class, there's a little section where I show you what to do to get classes off of classes. So on the website, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break it down into little short modules so that as your people are trying to do that, they can follow it, and your new people don't have to watch an hour and 20-minute video. They can watch the modules one at a time. This one shows you how to do this part of the close. Like for example, how to close a class is going to be broken up into at least 6 different modules. okay, this is exactly how you assume the sale and this is what you do. That way they can watch short little videos. And again, every single video will be in podcast form as well. Anyway, I'm super excited about it. So you can have those long versions on YouTube, or you can get the packages, and I'll be making sure that you are aware of what's happening, because I'm getting a good response. People are excited about it. So let's get right into, wait, let me see if I have any other announcements. Nope, that's it. So this is what we're gonna cover, you guys. We're gonna talk about a few questions, which I have right here. I've marked them in color this time because that'll make it easier for me. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to go right into dynamic compression. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that, but I'll probably spend about 10 minutes on that, because when you understand how the payout works, your choices are different. Your choices for placements change dramatically. So you don't have to know it inside and out, and we'll have a training that will go up on YouTube in detail about dynamic compression. Today, I'm just gonna kind of give you a quick overview so you get the idea of how, number one, how amazing our comp plan is, but what it does for you in placements. That's huge. Plus, it becomes relevant to several of your questions, the more of the advanced questions, I would say, where people are saying, well, what if I have elites between, like, what if I'm at the top and I have 3 elites and then I have my builder down there, then what? For those of you who don't understand dynamic compression, that question doesn't make any sense at all. So I'll talk about that, then how to fix it. We're gonna spend most of the time on how to fix it. I'm gonna go through the best way to fix problems that you have from best to worst. Get out a piece of paper and a pen. I want you to be ready for that part. I want you to write down the different fixes, but also the ideas you have for your team. So for example, as I'm teaching about how to fix it, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, Jennifer on my team, she's a sharer, and this is what I was thinking, but now I have 3 options. With Jennifer, I could do this or this or this. Write down every option that you could do with that person, with whatever's going on with that leg that is, in a mess for whatever reason, okay? Now, first let's do questions, okay. Teresa, this is somebody, Heather asked this question. I noticed you talk about getting a lot of builders by using the 3 pathways. Seriously, how successful are they in the business aspect? I get a lot of people that want to do the business, know what it entails, but when it comes right down to them actually doing it, they don't. They may start out gung-ho, but then within a few months, when their warm market runs dry and they aren't earning their power of 3, they're done. I kind of addressed this a little bit last time. I'm just gonna go into it quickly. The reason is because as I was looking on my YouTube channel, because a lot of people were asking, I can't find the 3 pathways video. This is what I realized. We need to label it better, because the 3 pathways video is actually, this is what it's titled. So make a note of this. It's titled, How to Transition Your Users to Builders. That is the 3 pathway video. So I'll leave that title on there because people need to understand it actually does that. But they also need to be able to find it if they're looking for 3 pathways. So for those of you who had a hard time finding it, that's it. As you use the 3 pathways, Heather asks a very good question, because I do get this question a lot. And yes, people do change their minds. The difference with the 3 pathways is anybody you get who comes on your team, they'll change their minds. How many of you have had someone on your team who said number one, who said they were going to do certain things and then they didn't, or they said they were going to do stuff and they did it, but then they changed their minds? That's the nature of the business. That is going to happen. But as you get better and better at doing the 3 pathways, what's going to happen is you will get better at identifying the people who really are serious, and you'll learn how to test them also. One of the fixes, I'm going to talk a little bit about the testing and how you test people. We've talked about it before, but I'll review it with you. Excuse me. So, the other beauty of this is when you do the 3 pathways, it lays out, and make sure you're following it pretty exactly until you get really good results. Once you get really awesome results and you see why I freak out about it, and you use it for all of these different issues, and you start resolving problems because you're using it, then at that point, play around with tweaks and changes, because then you'll be able to identify, is it working better or is it working worse now that I'm doing this? If you start doing it and think, well, I'm gonna make changes here, I'm gonna make changes there, likely there might not be enough experience, because this comes from years and years of experience of some of the top leaders who have put some of the pieces that make this 3 pathways training. So So number one, it allows you to identify better. They have a much more clear picture of what exactly they're committing to, and when they commit to it, the percentage of them actually following through we've discovered is much higher. And the other thing that happens is then when they do change their minds, if you've really followed the three pathways pretty closely, or pretty exactly, what happens is they're not usually avoiding your phone call. They know what they committed to. They know you were laid back. It's like you don't care what they choose. You just want to know what is best for them. That's been the feeling all along. So now what happens if their child gets sick or something happens? This just went off video, it looks like to me, Roger, but I'm not sure. So what happens when all of a sudden things change for them? They don't start avoiding you. They don't hide from you because you guys are on the same page. You've already talked about it. They know it's open communication. And you're speaking the same language. It's not that, because if they said, oh, I want to build, and then they're doing certain things, and then they stop doing as much, in their minds, they might think, I'm still building, I'm just not having as many classes. And you're thinking, okay, you aren't even building anymore, what happened? Well, how hard is it to have that conversation? Really hard. If you're not on the same page and don't speak the same language. If you've already done the three pathways, you're both speaking the same language. So when you talk, it's a lot easier to go to Jennifer and say, hey, Jennifer, so I want to make sure that I am not pressuring you and that we're doing this the way that's going to be best for you. So we had talked about three pathways before. You had selected pathway number 3, and that's what we've been doing. It's kind of, it seems like that's changing a little bit. Help me understand what's going on. Notice I'm not saying, okay, how come you're not doing it? And you really need to step up. I'm not doing any of that. If I care more about them than I care about, whatever money I want to make, getting what I want, whatever, guess what I'm going to do? What's going to happen is I'll get to the bottom of their problem. They have the language to tell me, and usually, I would say 98% of the time, people will say to me, you know what, I wanted to be a number 3, but I think I better switch to number 2 right now, or I better go to number 1 right now. I mean, it's awesome, because now instead of having a big drawn out conversation where I have to be really careful not to step on toes and make sure that I'm, handling everything well, we're just both fine. We're both fine. Now, this won't work if you're pressuring them, acting irritated with them because they're not doing what you thought they were going to do. If you do any of that, the minute you do that once, it's going to be way harder to have that conversation. So if you're one that gets irritated, you punch your pillow or talk to your husband about it or whatever, and then that cannot come across to them. And you know what? As you practice this, even if you feel like kind of being a jerk or a brat, and then you act like you should, it helps you become a better leader. You become the kind of person that is not that way. I've noticed that with myself, with my office team. So I'll give you an example, because this is powerful with your teams. It's not just, oh, do the steps of the 3 pathways. It's also the mood that you do it in, or the attitude that you have with them. Because when I first started with doTERRA and needed to hire employees, I'm paying them. I'm thinking, I'm paying you, and if you're not doing what I'm asking, Kate, what's going on? And that was my feeling, that was my attitude. And most of the time I think I try to be nice, but then sometimes that came across. And what does that feel like? I'm annoyed, I'm irritated, you idiot. I mean, that's kind of how it comes across. And so as the years have gone by, I've really worked on that and realized that if I assume they're trying their best, there must be something going on. And guess what? The beauty of having employees is if it's not a good fit, if it's not win-win, then we can go our separate ways, and that's fine, that's healthy. The hard part about doTERRA is you don't get to fire them. You don't get to let them go if there's an issue, or it's not something where you go, okay, we both decide this is win-win, and then you have control of that choice. You don't. And that's part of what we're going to talk about in the fixes today. Okay, so let me make sure. There are only, I think, 2 more questions I was going to cover right now, because most of the other questions will get answered as we go through the fixes. Mara says, I'm looking for a video to give a number 1 sharer. She's having oils conversations, but would like to learn how to make them more effective. Also, have the how to share videos been posted yet? Good questions, and I want to cover both of these. Number 1, the how to share, which is basically how to sample effectively, which is recruiting. That teaches you exactly how to recruit. The how to sample oils effectively is exactly why I can find a builder anytime I want. So now I'm going to pull the rug out from under you and say, that video's not up yet. but it will be up very soon. And we have it recorded. It's a matter of getting the final touches to it, and we need to post the fast track videos. Well, I want to post them in order on my YouTube, and we do one a week, but maybe I will post that one first and say this is the one that I'm doing out of order. You know what? I will do that for you guys. Chelsea, my office team, would you guys help me remember that I promised that? Okay, that's number one. The other question you asked, is there a video for my sharer who wants to start doing a better job helping people with the oils? Yes, and it is how to do a wellness consult. Now, what you might want to do, because I don't have the basic version out yet, I just have the detailed version that's a long video, that might be too much for a new person. This is why I'm trying to do a basic short version of almost every video that I'm putting out right now. If it's relevant, I'm doing a short one. Is for your new people. Because I get that for us, I want more details. I get the basics, but I might want training on something a little deeper. So I put that out there, and I'm realizing it's all for the existing builders. So what I would recommend, if they're new, and this is a chance that they'll turn into a builder. I mean, this is kind of turning into a builder. So what I would do is I would watch how to do a wellness consult, and then give her the bullet points. As you're watching it, just do bullet points. Listen to it on fast mode on YouTube, and you can give her those, okay? Let's see. Pamela says, she says, my question is this, and I think it was about, she says, thanks so much, the explanation is great. Oh, it was when we were showing you how much you make from a diamond who's on your front line or your second line or your third line. That was in week number 2, you guys. For those of you who didn't see that, you can go back and watch it. My question is this: we now understand that location is really important, and so is the structure, decanter versus dinosaur versus pyramid. Very funny. How can we control where our diamonds end up? Can't wait for the answer. And a lot of that is part of what we answered in the last couple of weeks, but I'm going to kind of bring it full circle right now. How do we determine where our diamonds end up? Number one, if you start placing correctly right from the beginning, which now you guys know how to do. If you don't, go back and watch those videos, and the mistakes that you do not want to make. If you're not making those mistakes, you'll have very few of these problems that we're going to be fixing. And number two, which is part of what we're going to cover today, that's why I wanted to cover that question right now. As I go through the fixes, you'll start to see, oh, if I have a diamond on my 4th level, these are some ways that I can get it to change. Okay, does that mean it has been 25 minutes? Okay, thanks. Okay, Paula asked this: I'm pretty new at doing this as a business, several months. I have been using the oils for about 2.5 years. The question I have is, what is your front line? I only have 1 level so far and not really any builders yet. Part of 2 reasons I wanted to show you guys this is because this is somebody who totally wants to know what to do. We get so used to the terminology that we throw out words like front line, 1st level, and then I noticed we were doing a video, Roger's doing a video on the comp plan that he'll be able to post pretty soon. It's awesome. Teaches in detail the 6 ways you get paid, but without too much extra commentary like we did on here. It's gonna be awesome. But even in that video, as we were going through the text, I noticed that in one place we call it front line, in another place we call it first level, and then we made sure, we thought we were so smart, we made sure that we said your front line is the same thing as your 1st level. It's the people that are directly underneath you, right underneath you. If they're underneath someone who's under you, that's no longer your front line. Your 1st level is your 1st row. Okay, but then I noticed, so we made sure we explained it all clearly, and then I was going through it one more time and realized, oh my goodness, there are 2 other places where we called it something different. And we think, oh duh, of course we're talking about the same thing. Make sure your people know. So hopefully that answers that question, Paula. And Kathy says, if you have a builder who's not a builder any longer, but will give referrals, do you place the new enrollments under them and you keep the enrollership since they won't do 100 LRP and keep them as the sponsor, or do you give them the enrollership and sponsorship? I'm just bringing this one up because I covered that in great, I won't answer it here, but I want you guys to know, and those of you who didn't see last week's, I covered enrollerships in great detail, probably 15 or 20 minutes in last week's video. So it will be week number 4. So if you have questions about those enrollerships, and this might be, Kathy might be thinking, yeah, I know, you answered that, whatever, I don't know. I just want to make sure everybody knows. Robin says, how many do you suggest we max out for our front line? I've been told to build under up to 4, but do you keep extra people on your top line just to see if they become a true CC or a builder? I'm going to show you this one real quick because a lot of people ask this. I've touched on it a little bit, but haven't really been super clear and answered it definitively, so I'm going to tell you right now. This is the deal. This is what I teach. And you can start with more. I see consequences when people start with more. Do not start with more than 3. And I cannot emphasize, and I'll qualify that in a minute. I cannot emphasize enough. You don't find the first 3 people that you find and just throw them up there. The first 3 sharers, the first 3 people that look like they might breathe, okay? You do not just take those people and put them on your front line. Just because we say start with 3 doesn't mean immediately. Remember how you want only CCs on your front line? And I'll review that briefly at the beginning of each video just because I think it's important and it reminds you how important it is. And for the new people who hadn't seen the previous videos, they'll know also. But committed and capable, and I'll describe what those are in a second, but what happens is you need to have committed and capable people on your front line. So what if, here's you, and you find someone who is committed and capable. Let's just, in a perfect world, okay? I get that doesn't happen, and that's why we're gonna go over fixes today. But you find someone who's committed and capable. Now you find someone who's committed and pretty darn good. Do they go on your front line? No, no. You save that for another committed capable. You can totally build out this leg. And I will tell you right now, if you give a committed or capable person to this committed capable, you're gonna have a stable leg. You're gonna create an awesome relationship. Now, there are always exceptions to the rule, and we'll cover those in the fixes. Usually I have at least one exception to each of the rules so that you understand. Then, this one might be getting pretty big. Then you find another builder. You put them here, and then you build that for a while. How many of you trying to hit silver or trying to hit your next rank have one leg that is powerhouse, awesome, a second leg that is a little bit stronger, and a third leg that's the weakest, and you're thinking, dang, I wish I could get these other legs up to this. Then what happens is you get the second leg starts getting big. Then you've got this weak one. You're like, oh, I wish I could get this one like the other. Okay, add them one at a time as you find the builders. I seriously would rather have, and I will tell you this, I know that Molly Dayton will say this, Elise Chedevi teaches this as well. I would rather have you wait 6 months. You have one builder here and you don't have the other builders. I'd rather have you wait 6 months to find a builder and put it here. I'm telling you, it will save your time, you will make way more money, and your life will be so much more pleasant. You won't have hot messes to fix. It's awesome. Now, I say start with 3, one at a time as you find your builders, unless you have managed teams of 100 people or more. If you have managed teams of 100 people or more, then I let you start with 4. I'm going to give you an example of somebody that you guys know and respect and admire so that you understand. This is somebody who can handle it, okay? Patrick and Elise Chedevi, they had done business before. They had owned and been part of multi-million-dollar businesses before doTERRA. They're amazing. They know how to do business. They are speed demons. They both are willing to work whatever hours it takes to make these things happen. Now, we started with 4 with them. And number 1, because they started with 4, we've now got 4 people who are all doing meetings and all doing different things. By the time it starts getting full, they hit diamond in 62 days as we were doing this. And by the end of the second month, we were starting to lose people, lose builders because we could not keep up with it. Now, diamond in 62 days. Doesn't matter if you go diamond in 62 days or if you do silver in 8 months. Whatever you do, if that's the pace that you're wanting to go, whatever pace you want to go, great. But if that's the pace you're going, whatever happens with those legs, it will get so busy. You'll hit, what happens is your time will be like this. You're like trickle, trickle, trickle. You're like, I wish I had more people. I wish I had that problem. Then it will take this much of your time. If width is how much time you are taking, then it will go like this. It'll get to a point where your time is taken up with all these people who are new enough, they aren't really independent yet, but they don't really know what to do, but they're going and it's awesome, and then it will calm down. So you do not want too much of this. So do only 3, and this is what I teach my leaders to do. You do 3, and then let's pretend like, well, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you started with 3, you don't have number 4, and as soon as one of these becomes independent, or another gauge is they're getting close to maybe their 1500 power of 3. That's not the best gauge because sometimes that can be hard to reach that, and that's not our first goal for rank, right, or for placements. But that kind of gives you a gauge. But also if they're really independent, they don't really need you a lot, then now this person is independent, so they get a big star. Now you find another, next builder you find goes here. Then as soon as the next one is independent, now you can add another. There should not be more than 3 that you are really strongly focusing on, okay? So that answers that question, hopefully. Now, let's talk about dynamic compression. I'm gonna show you a couple things. doTERRA's comp plan, you guys, is seriously awesome. It is the best, and I'm gonna show you what happens. Let's say, you know that in doTERRA we get paid down 7 levels. And remember, I'm gonna spend about 5 to 10 minutes on this. Roger, would you let me know in every 5 minutes, so I'm going through this fast. Okay, level 1, level 2, and remember this is the first group, first row underneath you. So I'm up here, my level 1, 2, 3, 4, I better do it smaller, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can they see the whole chart? Roger, would you check for me? 9, 10,
yes.
11, 12. I'm gonna go down 12. People say, well, you only get paid 7 levels deep. Well, yeah, let's do a little line across so we keep track of that. Now, how much do you get paid on your first level? After fast track is over, you know, after their first 60 days, and now it goes to your regular pay, which is, this one gets 2%. This one gets, on your second level, you're paid 3%, then 5%. Then, and I've got to write these out because of what I'm going to show you. 5%. You get paid 6% on your 5th level, 6% on your 6th level, and 7% on your 7th level. This is what you get paid. That's hilarious. I should have done it closer. Okay, so now what happens is, let me show you what if you don't have dynamic compression, I'll show you what happens. But first, let's write down some numbers, okay? I'm gonna do this so that we keep it as neat as possible because it gets confusing. Okay, let's see. Let's say that your first person is ordering $25 a month. 25 PV, we'll call these PV, okay? This person's 25. This one is 80. This one is 14. This one is 100. This one is 150. This one is 47. This one is 0. In fact, let's do 0 here. Well, this is a 0, okay? On your 8th level, somebody's ordering 19. On your 9th level, 73. On the next level, 21. On the next level, 33, 0. And let's do level 13 is 150. Okay? Let's say, now, does that look like your back office? This looks like your back office. This is pretty normal. This is what's happening. And so if you don't have dynamic compression, what happens is you get paid 2% on 25, 3% on 80, 5% on 0, so you get nothing for that level, 5% on 100, 6% on 150, and it goes down. So your 7th level, you get paid 0 for the 7% because you don't get, there's no dynamic compression. They call it dynamic compression because it's dynamic, but it's compression where it compresses up. So let me show you what happens with normal companies who have dynamic compression. This is what happens. So this is no dynamic compression. This is regular dynamic compression. Okay, this is what happens. What would happen is they would get paid on 25 PV. They would get paid 2% on 25 PV. So they would get paid here. They would get paid here. This would be level 1. This would be their level 2 because they'd get paid on this. Oh, this one's 0. So there's nothing here. They can't get paid. So with normal dynamic compression, regular dynamic compression, then the computer will skip this one. They say, nope, we're not going to pay that one. So that doesn't count as a level. Now, this is where you get paid level 3. So what do you get paid on level 3? 5%. So you get paid 5% on this, 3, but that 5% is coming from here. Now what happens down here? This would be level 4. This would be level 5. This would not count, right? These don't count. This would be level 6 and level 7. So see how they're getting paid 9 levels down, but notice how this one, they're not getting paid. So this is level 3, so they get 5%. This is level 4, so they get 5%. This is level 5, they would get 6%. This is level 6, they would get 6% on this and 7% on that. Does that make sense? That's what regular dynamic compression does. doTERRA does it even better. And in fact, this is what a lot of companies do. Even companies that have dynamic compression, I'm going to show you what they do. See if I have enough room across here. So this is most companies. This is what they do. They will say, okay.
Including doTERRA?
No, this is not doTERRA. This is most companies that have dynamic compression. Some of them will do it like this, and that's great. But what a lot of them will do, okay, thanks, is they will say, okay, we're not going to count a row unless it's 50 points or more, which is good because then you're not getting paid on a $30 order. You get to get paid on higher orders. So that's a good thing. And so people think, oh, that's awesome. So what happens is, let's say the number is 50. If it has to be 50 or more, does the person get paid on this level? No. Do they get paid on this level? Yep. So this would be level 1. Do they get paid on this level? Nope. Do they get paid here? Yep. This would be level 2. This would be level 3. Is this one 50 or more? No. Is this one 50 or more? No. Oh, am I skipping a row?
No, you're good.
Oops, I didn't. That's, here, let's do this. Would they get paid here? No. Would they get paid here? Yes, this is level 4. They get paid here? No. 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 This is level 5. Do you see how you can get paid 20 levels down? You might be getting paid on your 25th, 30th level. That's huge. Now, that's way better. Oh, Roger's wiping the screen. That's way better because guess what? They're going to get paid a lot more money. But doTERRA, and what happens? What happens to this one? Nobody got paid on this. Nobody got paid on this one. Nobody got paid on this. Nobody got paid on this. What happens to the payout from those numbers? Well, the company keeps it. The company keeps it so they, they can have more income or whatever. And the leaders like it because they're getting paid more. But let me show you what doTERRA does. It is awesome. And by the way, doTERRA doesn't just have one type of dynamic compression. They have 2. So, hopefully I have enough room. Okay, this is doTERRA. I'm going to put an O with a line across the top because this is super exciting. Watch what happens. doTERRA's is 50 points or more. It has to be 50 points or more. But this is what doTERRA does. I'll show you why this is relevant to placements after we're done with this part. So, doTERRA, are you going to get paid as your first level on this one? Nope. Nope. What about this one? It's 50 or more, yes? Yes, but guess what happens? It's going to add those together. That was probably a bad example. Let me change this to 125, just because the example will be easier.
That's a good example.
Well, yeah, but it goes up, so I just don't want to, I don't want to do too advanced. So what happens is if this is 125, does that one count? Yes. So you get paid on level 1 here. What about this one? Does this one count? Yep, that's your level 2. Does this one count? No, that one doesn't count. But what happens in doTERRA is whatever amount is here, if it doesn't count, if it's 50 or below, that number will get added to the one above. This one happens to be 0, so it doesn't do anything. But now look what happens. Does this one count? Yes, this is level 3. This is level 4. Now, it's looking very similar to this one, but wait till we get to these. Is this one 50? Nope. So this one gets added to 150. Is this one? No. Gets added to that. Is this one? No. It gets added to this. So now instead of getting, so what level is this for you? Number 4, which means you're getting paid 5% on $150 or 150 points. But now you're not getting paid 5% on 150. You're getting paid 5% on 150, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 209, 10, 11, 200 what? 16? 216. You're getting paid 5% because it's level 4 on 216 points. Now what about this one? Is this one more than 50? Yep. So now that one counts as level 5. This one counts, does it count? Nope. So this one goes up, adds to here. This is no, and it goes up and adds. This one goes up and adds. Now does this one count? This one doesn't count, so this one counts and it's level 6. The beautiful thing is, not only do we get paid only on the ones that are 50 and above, we also get paid on every single other point that is there. okay? So he's telling me I'm at 10 minutes, so I'll finish this up. That is huge. You guys, this is one of the reasons our paychecks in doTERRA for the same size team are way more than other companies. A lot of times when you don't understand this, people look at those numbers, people say, oh, well, yeah, if someone had about, like 5,000 people on their team and in doTERRA or in another company, doTERRA makes more, and that you kind of go, oh, brother, are they just making that up? This is exactly why. I'll show you one last thing before we go on. This is also what doTERRA does. So doTERRA does this, which is, thank you, doTERRA, it's awesome. The other thing that doTERRA does is they do what's called rank compression. This is rank compression. Now, what that means is that, let's say, here, Roger, help me with this one. I want to make sure I make a good example. Let's say that let's say you're diamond. So as a diamond, you're getting paid on all 7 levels of your team. Let's say that your first level is, should they be an elite? Yeah. I need to make sure I set this up properly so I can show you the examples. Let's say you have an elite here, you have an elite here, you have a silver here, you have a premier here. Okay, how many levels does an elite get paid on? Down? They get to get paid 5 levels deep. They can't get paid on their 6th and 7th level till they move up to another rank. So elite gets paid on 5 levels. I'll write that down here. And this one gets paid on 5 levels. A silver gets paid on what? All 7. A premier gets paid on what? 6 levels. Okay, so now let's look at what happens. Let's say now we have elite. We'll make these all elite. Actually, let's make some. This one is a wellness advocate. They're not really even a rank. They get paid on their first level. They only get paid on their first level, and it goes down from there. Now, what doTERRA does, and I'll just do this super fast, so you'll have questions probably. We're not going to finish answering those here, but it compresses from the very bottom. The computer goes all the way down to the very bottom of your team, and it says, let's say this was the bottom of your team. It says, okay, and let's say these are all, should these all be wellness advocates, Roger? Should they be elites?
Elites.
Okay, let's make them elites. Elite, 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 and elite. Okay.
Which would make this person elite just because of their volume.
Oh yeah, this person would be elite because if this volume is elite underneath here, they're gonna have at least 3,000. That's why he's saying that, okay? So that's elite also. Everybody's elite. Now, look what happens. Let's say you've got a diamond down here, way down here on your bottom level. You've got a diamond. Now, what happens? They've got all this tons of volume, 7 levels of big volume under there. But it goes down to the bottom of the 7th level of that diamond. And let's say that, so the diamond gets paid on their 7 levels. Now what happens is the elite is going to get paid. Their diamond is their first level. And then the diamond, as it goes down, the diamond's 4th level is this person's 5th level. So that's 5 levels. But this person can't get paid more than 5 levels. So what happens to their 6th and 7th level? Most companies just keep that money. What doTERRA does is they pay it up. So what happens is the computer goes, oh, I can't pay level 6 and 7 to this person because they don't qualify. So I'm going to go up to the next person, see if they qualify. Do they? No, they can't get paid a 6th or a 7th level. Can this? No, 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 no. So now what? No, no, because these are all elite. Premier, does a premier get paid on more than 5 levels? Yes. So that 6th level, this person's 6th level all the way down is now going to get paid to this premier because they qualify. Now, that premier is already getting their own 7 levels. This is an additional 6th level. And on a diamond, like down below this, that's the diamond's 5th level. That's huge. That can be a lot of money. Now, can a premier get paid on 7 levels? No, they only get 6 levels. So that 7th level down below, this person's 7th level, what's going to happen is it's got to get paid to somebody. So it went, uh-oh, can I pay? Can I pay? No, no, no. Can I pay? No. They don't get a 7th level. Can I pay? Yes. So this silver can be making a ton of money because of what's going on down there. Now, this, let me show you how it relates to a little bit of placements as we go into these fixes. Because sometimes you'll go, oh, well, I need to fix this. Well, you know what, maybe, it depends. So, what happens is people, you know how I've taught you how people will say, oh, build down like this, all the way down. Just do a straight level, and then somebody somewhere will want to build. If this person wants to build, yay. But guess what happens? We've talked about why that's not a good idea, because how much money you make if they're higher to the top of you. That's one reason. This is another reason. What happens? This person could be making all this money, crazy money, because none of these guys qualify. And let's say that somebody did that. They said, oh, let's just build down. We'll build down because these people don't want to build until we find a builder. Oh, we found a builder, that's my qualifying leg. Well, guess what? Now, do you think these people are stupid? No. Guess what happens? Somebody goes to convention one year and they go, you know what? I decide I want to build. And so this person starts to build the minute they hit Premier. Guess what? This person loses that whole level. And as soon as they hit silver, this person loses that 7th level. So what happens is your paycheck can drop in half. In fact, I have somebody on my team who just went diamond because they've been working to go diamond. They went diamond with a leg that is not really a builder, but they went ahead and did it. They are actually going to start a new leg, which I'll show you some of these fixes. But just to go diamond, they've been working hard. They wanted to hit diamond, so they hit diamond. Their unilevel check was cut in half. Because in order for them to go diamond, now this is kind of more going into the fixes. In order for them to go diamond, they've been platinum, so they had they had 3. But in order to go diamond, they kind of helped this leg that's not really building, that, you know, they decided this is something I want to do. So they went diamond, so this person hit silver. And because that person hit silver, all those levels that are underneath, there's a huge builder under here, all those levels that this person did not build, all that stuff that was getting paid up to this person now went to this person, because now they get all 7 levels. So they won't continue to do that. They made a choice to do that, knowing that they would lose that volume. But you do not want to count on the fact that, oh, well, they'll never build. And I'll tell you one more situation, because this also has to do with placements and fixes. I have a leader on my team, really big leader, and in fact, one of the biggest in doTERRA. She had somebody on her team down a few levels in this situation, one of those elites, who came to her and said, no, it's actually her qualifying leg. So if this is my leader up here, she had her legs here. She's presidential. She's got 6, whatever. Her leader here was, I don't know, I think probably blue diamond. And her person right here was elite. She was one of those that hadn't built, didn't want to do anything. So this person was getting the benefit of all those levels like we've talked about. And all of a sudden, this person, let's call her Sarah, because it's always Sarah. Sarah went to this leader and said, hey, I'm really, because they're friends, I'm excited. Would you help me build? I've decided I want to build doTERRA. Do you want to know what this leader says? Don't you dare. Don't you touch her with a 10-foot pole. Now, this leader is a really awesome person, really awesome leader, but guess what? They've built it all. They made some mistakes, built underneath this person, so this person is getting something for nothing. Some of you know what that feels like. It's tempting to say, do we want that culture where we go, don't you help her? We don't want to help that person. No, but if you structure properly and get these fixes in place, then you're not going to be dealing with these kinds of situations. Kate, right into the fixes. You guys are like, get on with it. Let's do the fixes. This is what you've been waiting for. And I will warn you right now, if you have not watched all the videos up to now, you are going to get lost. You're going to wonder why this matters. And so let's see. I just want to make sure I don't miss any. Thank you. Okay. Number 1. I'm gonna give them to you in order. The number 1 easiest thing to do. Let me put this where I can see it better. The number 1 easiest thing to do to fix a problem is start a new leg. And you guys are gonna wanna shoot me, but I promise you, this is the easiest. Start a new leg. And I want you to write this down, even if you don't believe me. And if you don't believe me, this is because of one of 2 reasons. Number 1, you are afraid. You're afraid of recruiting because you're afraid you won't be able to find somebody. How many people in doTERRA do we have who hit diamond in 60, 90, days, 6 months. If you could have a diamond in a short period of time, or let's say, what if you knew how to help someone hit elite? What if you knew how to help someone hit elite? You had total confidence that you could find a builder, help somebody hit elite in 2 months, in 4 months. That means you could help 3 people hit elite. In 4 months, you'd have a silver right here. Think about the legs that you are propping up. That's one of the mistakes we talked about. Do not prop. If you really didn't have to prop, if you really could, two things, if you really could recruit and you knew you could find a builder and you knew how to help them hit elite for real, duplicatable, not maybe the way you did it the first time. A lot of people can do it. You might be able to do it yourself. But if all your leaders can't copy what you do because you're special and amazing, that's not going to be helpful. That's why I'm so excited about this fast track training. Guess what the fast track does? It teaches you exactly how to build an elite, step by step, an elite in 6 weeks. 6 weeks, you guys. And when the people who follow the training, it absolutely works. What if it takes you twice as long? What if it takes you 4 times as long? What if it takes you a year to get a solid silver on your front line? You could totally do that. And think about where you are right now. Now, a lot of times people are nervous about the time it's going to take. You think, well, I've already been spending all this time on this leg. Well, I can promise you, this is what some of my leaders say. And I've seen people say it in network marketing before. You guys, it is easier to it's easier to give birth than to raise someone from the dead. That's really true. It's really true. What happens is you find a new leader. If you really know how to recruit, you find a new leg. You find a new leg. And guess what? You test them properly. You do the 3 pathways. You know exactly what they're wanting. You're in this together. You make a plan from day 1. In the fast track training, I teach you from the minute you're on the phone with them and they're all excited. You're going, okay, the first thing we need to do is pick your launch week. And their launch week needs to be 2 to 3 weeks away from the date they join. So the beauty of it is you're not going, Kate, let's get a class on the calendar right this second. You say, okay, what we need to do is decide your launch week. The launch week, you're going to have more classes than normal. You're going to have 4 classes. It needs to be 2 to 3 weeks out from now. Imagine if you knew exactly how to do this. You knew how to talk to them. They set their launch week. You knew exactly how to show them how to recruit, sampling the oils, exactly what to say. We've got the scripts for you, you guys. So I told you I will put that one out first on YouTube. And that should go out. Roger, when can we tell them that will go out?
What?
The how to sample effectively. The long version. We could put it on YouTube. How soon?
It's done. We could put it on there
But
today.
is Seth done with it? Are they done
No.
with the... Okay, but how long do you think for him to get that part done?
If he makes it a priority, he could probably have it done Monday.
Okay, so we're going to try to get it up for you within a week, okay? So be watching that. It's called How to Sample Effectively. I'm going to put hashtags about recruiting, and maybe I'll have also a second title that is that, just so people know. This isn't just how to sample oils. This is truly recruiting. And whatever product you have, you could do it the exact same way, just insert the name of that product instead of essential oils. The beauty of the oils is they work so well and so quickly that people fall in love with them right away. So our recruiting is easier, okay? Let me see. Oh, let me give you an example of when it might not be best to start a new leg, because almost always that is your best option. And when I show you the other options, you'll see why. And the other options are great and you'll use them. Doesn't mean don't ever use the other ones. But let me tell you a story of what happened. This is where, because I've had classes, well, first of all, I have had classes where I'll ask people, so what do you think is the easiest thing you can do if you're having trouble with your legs? And somebody in one of the classes shouted out, quit. So I'm all, no, yeah, that would be the easiest, I guess. No, you're fired. So, what you want to do is, oh, what was I going to say? Let's see, I lost my train of thought. Just a second. Oh, when it would be a good idea. Okay, let's say you've got somebody on your leg, or this is you. Let's say you're a diamond. You're a diamond. You've got 4 legs. We do not want to keep propping, and we know that it's easier to start a new leg. It truly is. If you are propping a leg, you will be propping that leg forever. I promise. I promise you will be propping it forever unless you find a builder. You have to do one of these fixes. So this diamond, and this actually happened. She had 4 legs. They were all builders. She had done a great job. But this builder decided they didn't want to do it anymore. They didn't want to do it anymore, but guess what? This diamond had just quit her job. She had just quit her job, was doing doTERRA full time, and she had to maintain that income because of her expenses. and you know, she made a lot of money before, so she didn't quit her job till she was making enough to cover, you know, you don't want to lose your car, you don't want to, so you have an expensive car, so you have an expensive house. Well, those are things you worked toward. If she lost that income, if she dropped from diamond down to platinum, then she wouldn't be able to afford her life. She'd be in big trouble. So, is that a time where you go, sorry, I'm just going to take a couple months and start a new leg? She couldn't go down even for 1 month. So what she did is she needed to keep working on this leg. She did prop it, but with the plan that she was starting a new leg or going to make one of these fixes that we're talking about, transfer someone in, whatever. She knew that was not the final solution, but for now, she needed to keep propping, keep doing that, because she had to maintain that. Now, what's another thing that might happen? Either she might choose to keep propping, or what if this person doesn't build and there's not enough here to work with, but down 4 levels, there's a builder down here who wants to build and they are big enough. Is that a situation where you would rather take this enrollership than start a new leg? Yeah, she doesn't have time to start a new leg. She can start a new leg in the meantime, but what happens is it's worth having this enrollership. Maybe she had this enrollership and she had this enrollership from the beginning. Well, if this person stops building, well, for heaven's sake, she's already got this one. So there are situations where you might do that, because when you hear about the big mistakes and you hear about how you only make so much on certain diamond level, you know, if your diamond's on your front line, you make this much. If they're down on your 5th level, you only make this much. And people say, oh, well, that's stupid. I would never do that. Well, actually, sometimes there's a situation. There's always a situation where you would, but don't choose that because you feel like you don't have any other options. Understand what your options are and then make the best choice for that option. Okay, number 1, start a new leg. Number 2 is to transfer someone in. Now, are you guys taking notes? Make sure that you are making a list, because every single one of you could start a new leg. So any trouble leg that you are worried about, or one that you're feeling like, well, they don't really want to build or whatever, you should have, this is what I want it to look like. I want you to have maybe, and depending on if you're with them or whatever, you might have leg number 1, leg number 2. These are your legs that you have issues with. Leg number 2, leg number 3. And you might know that leg number 3 is actually the 3rd level down in this leg or whatever. You know which people you're talking about. But let's say you have Sarah, Kate, and Jim. Okay? If you have these legs, as we talk about each of these, what I want you to do is go, could I start a new leg here? Yes, I could. So you're going to make a list of the options that you have. Because start anew. If some of these options that we'll go through, you won't have that option. That might be something you already tried and the relationship is ruined or whatever. You'll know. But I want you to make a list under each one of the options that you have. Because what you will find is as you have all these options here, you have options here, and sometimes these are interrelated. Then what happens is you go, oh my goodness, well, I thought I would have to just start 2 new legs, but now I realize if I did a transfer here and I did a swap here and I did this and whatever, and I did this here, then it would actually solve that problem in a way I hadn't thought of before. That happens all the time in this training, okay? So, second thing, the number 2 best option to do is to do a transfer. This one probably is about, it's similar to, it's similar in value or ease. I guess I should say it's similar in ease to do as an enrollership change, okay? But a transfer is less emotional baggage, and so that's why I have it as number 2. And we'll talk about that a little bit. Let me see, what time is it, Roger? I just want to make sure.
1 hour, 60 minutes.
Okay, because we have about 6 fixes. Okay, so I'll hurry through these and hopefully we can get to some questions. I just don't want to keep you guys too late. Transfer. So, what a transfer is it means, let's say you've got people here and you've got, this leader who doesn't want to build, or you put a sharer here or a customer here and you didn't realize and you've been building them. You can transfer someone into this spot. There are a few regulations you have to abide by. Now, just so you understand, when you have a spot in doTERRA, it is like owning a home. You own this, or owning a business. You own this business. You can sell this business. You can give it away to someone. Of course, you have to sign the right documents or whatever. You can give it away. So when I say transfer someone in here, let's say Sarah is here, and we want to transfer Kayla. Kayla is going to transfer in. That's great. Kayla can transfer in. You found a CC. She wants to build. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they find someone, Sarah's a sharer. She won't do what you want. Kayla comes in and she's actually a sharer. You didn't test her. You didn't check. She just sounded excited and she sounded better than what you've actually seen with Sarah. And then people transfer in. You guys, I've had blue and presidential diamonds who do transfers and have had to transfer into the same spot 5, 6 times and more. They keep having to do it over and over. And why does that happen? 99% of the time is because you did not test them. And I'll go into testing in a little bit later one, okay? So, why is building a new leg the easiest? Because if you know how to build and you know how to find a leader, you can totally do that. Think about your legs that have grown well. If you had a leader like that, and if you had a situation like that, but you can actually create that situation. Now, for a transfer, what has to happen is Kayla can never have been in doTERRA before. She can't have been in doTERRA before. If Sarah is a silver or above, she has to sit out for a whole year before she can join doTERRA again somewhere else. If she's below a silver, then she has to wait 6 months. So sometimes people don't want to do that. Okay, why am I saying this? Let me make sure I've covered everything. Number one, Sarah, this is why it's not the best, easiest option. Sarah has to agree. It's her spot. You don't get to just decide, and never ever go talk to them and guilt them into changing, okay? That's ridiculous. Why would they transfer out? They've got a team under here. If you're trying to transfer someone in, it's usually because you've got some volume under there. Otherwise, you'd just start a new leg. So why would they leave? Usually, it might be because of guilt. They feel guilty because they know they're not helping or whatever. It might be because they're tired of the pressure. Don't make somebody feel all pressured so that they'll get tired of it and move out. You guys, there are better ways to do it.
Could be that you had an agreement with them.
Oh yeah, it could be that you had an agreement with them. Good, thank you. Could be that you had an agreement with Sarah. Hey, if you're going to be on my front line, this is what the commitment level is. Now, one of the questions I had, this is where I wanted to answer this. So thanks for bringing that up. One of the questions I had was, do you have people sign paperwork ahead of time when they're going to take a spot? And you guys might think this is crazy, but I'll tell you, there are reasons we do this now. Yes, I absolutely do. So if somebody's going to be my qualifying leg, and I teach my leaders to do this too, so let's say we want Kayla to transfer in for Sarah. Then what happens is, I'm going to talk to Kayla, I'm going to test her, and by the way, is this where I wanted to show you the test? No, I'll show you the test in a minute. But there's a special way you test someone for your front line. We talked about it a little bit before, and I'll cover it again. But Kayla I'm going to do 3 pathways, but not just that. She gets heavier duty testing. She's got to show me what kind of builder she can bring, and I'll show you how I do it so it's not pressure. But it's just fun and exciting. Kayla brings her builders, and let's say it all works out. She's a CC. She does what she says she's going to do. When she says she's going to do it, she can sign people up. She's bringing people in. It's looking really good. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Kayla, part of it is we're going to go through 3 pathways. She's going to sign her name on the bottom of that. But you don't make it feel like, okay, sign this. You have to sign this. It's more fun. Say, okay, we're going to make your goals. You're going to make your commitments to yourself. You see how fun that is. And then they sign their 3 pathways. And if this ever changes, we need to make sure we're open communication about this. And then I have them sign the document that is to release their spot, to sell their spot. So that if they ever stop doing all the things that they said they would do, I've already got their signed agreement to transfer the spot. That's huge, huge. Now, I think only one time have we ever had to use it. Don't be a weasel about it. Don't do that and then lord it over their heads. But only one time have we ever had to use that, and it was mutual consent. If you maintain the kind of relationship you should with this person, without pressuring, without guilting, without getting irritated and annoyed all the time, then do you have a good relationship? Yeah. Then I can go to Sarah and say, hey, Sarah, this is what's happening. You know, we talk about it, and she's kind of saying, yeah, I'm realizing I need to go to number 2 right now. I say, okay, that's awesome. So let's do this. We'll utilize the form that you signed. What we'll do is because I need someone on my front line who's going to be committed to those things, and you don't want to be pressured with that right now. And what we'll do is I've got a spot on my front line anytime you're ready to start again, or if you're ready to start and you want to, if there's something else that fits better for both of us, then we'll talk about that. And there might be a position on my team where I'm really focusing all my attention. Maybe that will be the best place. But when you're ready, we'll set you up again. Do you see how that works? You have to handle this in a way that's not going to turn them off. Okay, so that's a transfer. Let me see if there's anything. Oh yeah. So there are different things you can offer. Number one, well, if I transferred Sarah in the first place, she's getting an existing team that she did not build. So that one, number one, it's not that I'm not going to give her anything, but that is her spot. You don't just get to say, well, you signed it, so I get it back for free. If they helped build it up, now that spot might be worth $5,000. It might be worth $10,000. If it's worth $10,000, it's because you're making a lot off of it. Well, you got to pay the fair value. They get paid the fair value of what that thing is that they own. It's their house. It's their motorcycle. You pay them for their property, and then you get to have it. But now you've already got the signed paperwork, okay? Now, it's not all it's cracked up to be, because guess what? This damages relationships. You can imagine if you don't do this exactly right, even if you do this exactly right, Sarah could hate you by the time you're done. She feels let down. She feels like you think she's bad. A lot of times it's because of guilt. And a lot of times this is the problem. We think, I handled it right. I didn't do anything bad and she's all mad at me. Well, guess what? Don't ever think that. Always assume, what could I have done better? Doesn't mean you need to beat yourself up about the things they did. They did certain things and they need to be responsible for their behaviors and their actions. But you need to be responsible for yours. Don't ever. If you catch yourself saying, no, I handled it totally right, that's a mess. You need to fix that because you'll do it again. You'll do it again. And I can guarantee there are things you could have done better. Okay? So let's see. Oh, the other thing is this person will lose all their LRP points. So what are things you can offer? You can offer money, but it doesn't always have to be money. You could offer essential oils. You could offer 6 months worth of their loyalty rewards order for free. You could, like what I'll do, I'm not gonna let them losing their points stop me. First of all, I'll say, you go get all your points, use them all up, and I'll even match your points, or I will, whatever, I'll give you this much in free oils every month, that kind of thing. So they love that. And often, someone who's in that situation, they care more about the oils unless they're already making a lot of money. Then you're gonna have to pay more for the spot, okay? So this is where I want to talk about testing. But first I'll talk about one more problem with this. This is also why this is not number one. Who are these people loyal to? Especially if Sarah's been building. Who do these people love? They love Sarah, maybe they love me. Do they love Kayla? No, they could care less about Kayla. So when Sarah moves out, who are these people gonna go to? Me. Now, is that time freedom? No. And so you better be darn good at, at psychology and leadership and understanding how to help transition Kayla with these people. Now, for those of you who don't know how to do that, what I want you to do is watch last week. You might think that we weren't talking about this, but remember how I told you, you have this conversation with people where you say, hey, like if I'm gonna put somebody underneath, if Sam is here and I wanna put somebody under Sam, and I say, hey, Sam, I wanna put somebody underneath you, this is the situation, they love the oils, they wanna build, whatever the true story is, and then I say, I would like to put them underneath you, but I need to put them under someone who's gonna do this and this and this and this. Is that something you're willing to do? That conversation, we do that, only we tweak it just a little bit. Because of course we're not gonna go, okay, Sam, you need to get okay with Kayla. Well, we can't make that happen. So what we do is, what happens if I put Kayla in and I go announce to the whole team, hey, we've got a new upline leader. That's great, that's better than nothing. But how much better would it be to call Sam individually and say, Sam, hey, this is what's going on. Sarah is in a situation where it's gonna be best for her. She does not wanna be having to worry about doTERRA. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna save a spot for her when she's ready to get going again. But we wanna make sure there's somebody here to take care of this team. So I've been working with this person. I've been testing people like crazy because I am not putting just anybody in this spot. And I found this girl, her name is Kayla. She is awesome, and Kayla's waiting in the wings. She's not on the call, but I say, I want you to meet her. And so I pull Kayla in a three-way call. And I say, Kayla's awesome. And guess what I do? Do I tell Sam how awesome Kayla is so that Sam will be okay? Well, yeah, I'll do a little bit of that, but you wanna know what's even more important? Because Kayla's already excited. She already wants to work with these people. She's already committed to doing that. I better tell Kayla how awesome Sam is. All the awesome things that Sam does, and I'm going to tell Kayla, and in front of Sam. And you know what? You're going to find that one of the things you love about working with Sam is this and this and this. Totally getting emotional. Do you see how that changes the relationship? Because now you're starting to help that transition so that they can connect. Does that mean Sam is immediately going to go, oh no, Kayla's my best friend? No. What's going to happen is he's still going to want to come to you. But everything you do, you try to get Kayla in there as a three-way. So if Sam calls and says, hey, well, what about this? Maybe Sam had a pre-existing problem that you've been dealing with Sarah, and Kayla doesn't know the story. So what happens is I'm going to make sure Kayla knows the story. And when Sam calls me about it and says, hey, I just wondered about this, I say, you know what? I've briefed Kayla on what's going on. Let me get her in on a conference call so that she can hear what we are talking about. Am I going to say, hey, I'm going to call Kayla in so that she can tell you what to do? No. Sam doesn't want to hear what Kayla says, and he doesn't care. He doesn't think she knows anything. Yeah, he doesn't trust her yet, but he trusts me. So I'm going to help him feel like we're slowly bringing Kayla in, okay? Testing. This is what you're going to do. Oh, this is something you can do when you're transferring in. It's kind of like what we talked about when, I can't remember when we talked about it before, but when I taught you about how you talk to someone and say it's got to be win-win. When you are doing these changes, if you try to do a transfer, if you try to do an enrollership change, which we'll talk about in a second, if you are trying to do this, you have got to have an awesome conversation with this person. I'll tell you right now, you better have your diamond upline or above helping you. And a lot of diamonds can't handle this, okay? And if you think that, if you're a diamond, you think you can handle it, or you think your diamond can handle it, and they've been helping you, and there are still problems, and this person hates you, guess what? They can't handle it yet. And that's okay, that's not a bad thing. Let's just face the reality of where we are so that we get the help we need and we learn and grow and we get to be better at it so that we don't do that again. Because we might, if we're doing our very best, then we can't see what we could have done differently or why we caused a problem. We've got to learn. So what you want to do is you want to say, basically, if I go to Sarah, let's say I'd never had a conversation with her before, she never signed anything before because I didn't know about that. But I've got Sarah and I really want to transfer her out because she's not problem, sorry. That team is struggling and we're making a list of everything we could do. I could do a transfer, that would be one thing. So I go to Sarah and I say, hey Sarah, I have a business proposition for you and I want to talk to you about some different options. And so then we talk about some different options, but first I tell her, this is the deal. This has got to be win-win. And you say this every time. You say this is, and you start off by this. You don't start off by saying what you want. Look how that feels. That feels awful. Go to them and say, this is the deal. This has got to be win-win because it's got to be best for you and it's got to be best for me. If it's not, then I don't even want to do it. We shouldn't even be doing something like that. So I want to go through a few different options and let me see. We'll go through these options and then we'll figure it out from there. And guess what? And this is another reason why this is not the best option. 100% of the time, will your Sarah person say, oh yeah, I picked this option? No, a lot of times they say, no, I don't want to move. Now, the better job you do at it, the higher percentage you're going to have of people who are willing to take one of the options. Because if you at all end up helping them feel like you don't care about their feelings even for 1 second, if you invalidate all the work they've done for 1 second by anything that you say, I'm telling you, they're probably not going to take one of the options. That's why this is not number one. Okay, next thing that we do is an enrollership change. I think there are like 6, you guys, and a couple of them are real quick. So, enrollership change. I talked to you in previous videos about when you change the enrollership. When you don't, you do not give your enrollerships away. And if you don't know when to keep them, make sure you please watch last week's video, the first half hour or so, where I'm talking about that, because it is key. And I'm telling you, your team will be bigger, it will be more stable, and people will trust you more if you'll do it the way I teach. So, but enrollership change, why isn't this the first option? Because it ruins relationships. It totally ruins relationships. You are here, you put your sister here, sister's been there, she's done a ton of stuff, but she's not building the way you think building should be. And you're at odds. Well, guess what happens? As time goes by, she can feel that. She knows she feels like she's letting you down. Then she gets irritated at you because you are pushing. She's like, this is my business. I can do it however I want. You guys might have gotten in together, been so excited. Let's do this together. And then guess what happens? Both of you are thinking, we're going to build. But to you, building means one thing. Building means a class every week. To your sister, building means one class a month or once every other month. So as you see her doing that, what happens? You get more and more irritated. You've got all these people that you've been working with your sister because it was going to be so much fun, and now there are problems. So really be careful about that. Let's see. So there's a specific rule I want to read to you. This is straight from doTERRA. If the member was enrolled before September 22nd of 2014, so this is just for people with pre-existing teens that are a little bit older. If the member was enrolled before September 22nd, 2014, they have to submit an exception application form with the sponsor's 3 signatures. You don't have to go 7, just 3. Otherwise, you don't need that. Because how many times do you get to change the enrollership? Once. You get 1 free enrollership change. So let's say your sister is not doing what she said she was going to do, but she's got a killer leader right here. This leader is Diamond, and you're doing a lot of the work because she's not really, she's part-time engaged or whatever. And sister, I'll tell you, most of the time, they absolutely feel like, of course I'm not changing enrollership. That's mine, and I'm working. Usually, that's what they feel. Can you imagine trying to figure out a way to talk to sister in a way that helps her feel like you don't think she's doing a bad job, and you want her diamond enrollership? It's an issue, and this one is harder. This one is definitely harder because you're not just having them move out of the spot. So, enrollership change, let me see if there's anything else about that. In fact, I even wrote out the wording for the win-win thing. Let me read it to you so if you guys want to listen back. Listen, if this doesn't work better for you and better for me, let's not do this at all. This has to be win-win. That has to be a win for you. It has to be a win for me. I don't just want to come in and take a person that you brought to the table. That's just not fair. Can you imagine what they feel the minute you say that? Am I like in your face? What do they feel? They feel like, oh, you're validating that I brought this person in. They're mine. The minute you say that, it changes everything. And then you say this, that's just not fair. It's only good for me. It's not good for you. So you walk them through the series of the options and see what they say. And guess what? If you were sincere, then if they don't pick one of the options and they say, no, I'm keeping it, do you act at all annoyed? Can they sense at all that you are bugged or frustrated? They better not, because otherwise you were insincere. You didn't mean it. You just wanted what you wanted. And I'll tell you what, if they say no and you handle it absolutely awesome, then you say, okay, I totally get it, and you brought this person in and they are yours. So just know those options are on the table. For right now, I mean, those would be good options for me, but they're not for you. Don't say it like that. You want to basically leave it feeling like it's open-ended. Say, okay, I totally get it. Don't act like, okay, but if you change your mind, then that's annoying. Then it feels to this person like you are not really even listening to my decision. I made a decision. Imagine when you're in the car with somebody going out to eat, like with your spouse or whatever, and they say, hey, where do you want to go? And you say, oh, I want to go to this restaurant. They say, well, what about Mexican? What about, you're like, okay, I already said this. I mean, obviously, hopefully you don't get that annoyed by something so little, but you get the idea. You be respectful, and if you're really respectful and you make sure it feels like, hey, I totally get it, then what do you think they're going to do after you leave? They're going to ruminate on those ideas that you talked about. And if they really were win-win, maybe cash that you offered or oils that they offered, and guess what else I'm going to talk about? Then you won't have to worry about signing any of those agreements. You won't have to You won't have to worry about that, but you get this. You see what I'm saying? Now, every time she has to sign one of those and she doesn't want to have to deal with it, what's she thinking? Maybe. So it gives, maybe it'll happen later. But again, you can't guarantee. It's just an exception. Okay, so the fourth thing is cancel an account. This one's quick and short and easy. Cancel an account. Now, the same things that apply to the other ones apply to this. Can that hurt a relationship? Absolutely. Do people get hurt because you say, I mean, if you went to them and said, you know what, you're really not pulling your load like you should. You're not doing what you said you were going to do. So let's cancel your account. Okay, again, use your diamond upline or above. And if you really don't know how to do it, then it is better to wait. Better to wait. Are you guys writing these options down underneath some of these? Because some of them, it might not be something you want to cancel. Maybe here's you, and if you obeyed all the rules, on your third level, you've got your mom, and you're building your mom. She was building, but now she's not. Do you want her out of there? No, you built her team because you wanted her to be able to have a solid income. So you may not want her out. You may not want her to cancel her account, but maybe the enrollership is an option. Maybe a swap, which we'll talk about in a second. Let me make sure I cover everything about the cancel account. One thing I do want to tell you is this. If someone is complaining and saying, well, nobody's helping me, so I want to cancel my account and move somewhere else. I'll just tell you, if you're the one on the receiving end of this person who says, I want to be on your team, you think twice about it. Number one, do everything in your power to help them stay where they are. Tell them, you can get on my team calls. You can get on, any of the things that it won't really take any extra time for you to let them be involved. That's the doTERRA culture. Of course, you don't need to spend 10 hours extra every week on people that are not your qualifying legs. You should be spending 80% of your time on the qualifying builders who are actually building. This is not propping. This is who are building. And 20% of your time on everything else. So of course, you help people. But let me tell you, if somebody ever says to you, my upline isn't helping, or I can't do this by myself, nobody is here to help me in my area, so I want to be on your team because you're in my area, I'll tell you right now, that gives you a clue to that person's character right now. They are a whiner, they're a complainer, they're a blamer. What are they doing? They're blaming it on someone else. They're saying that it's someone else's problem or fault or reason that they are not having success, or that they are having a problem, whether it's because of relationship issues, whatever, and they're coming to find a solution to find someone else who will give them what they want, instead of looking at themselves and going, dude, this is my business. And I will tell you, I am really good at getting people staying where they are because I feel so strongly about that is integrity. But they do have their own choice. I could tell them all day long to not move. Excuse me, they could still move. Well, guess what happens? I have had people join my team, and after that has happened probably twice, maybe more than twice, but two that I can actually think of where I was really involved, because I'm really good at keeping them where they are and getting them to be happy where they are, learning to work on themselves. But I've had it happen, and I've had leaders have it happen. And when that happens, guess what? They often are the problem child. Because guess what? They're a whiner, they're a complainer, and they're a blamer. So now who are they going to whine to? Who are they going to complain about? And who are they going to blame? You. So just be very careful about that. I don't care how awesome they seem. And if that's you, by the way, which there have been times when that was me, if that is you, start changing that right now. Stop doing that. Okay, let me see if there's anything else about that. One of the things I just want to tell you is it's not worth the loss of trust and the loyalty. It's just not. It's not worth the loss of trust. I'll tell you one story that I had with somebody on my team. I had a leader who was amazing, huge, awesome. When you talk to this person, you want to be on their team, they're great. And they had one of their frontline leaders. I'll call her Sarah. Of course, it's Sarah. So here's Sarah. Sarah had a couple of builders, and then Sarah had a hard time bringing in builders. So she brought somebody to the table and wanted them for the front line, but they didn't enroll. They were coming from another company. That company was falling apart. They were going to be big. They were bringing people. It was going to be a big deal. So this person has a hard time closing, so Sarah brought in her upline leader. Her upline leader came, closed the deal, but this person was so impressed by this leader that they said, I want to be on your front line. I'm not working with anyone else. I have to be on your front line. Well, I'm not going to join at all unless I'm on your front line. Guess what? She could have, number one, allowed that person to be on her front line. She could have said, hey, Sarah, they want to be on my front line, so how about if we split the check or whatever? Guess what? She refused. She would not do any of it. Good for her. Good for her, because guess what? No matter any other option she had chosen, guess what happened? She would have lost her trust. Totally lost her trust, no matter what option it was. And guess what? This person started telling everyone, well, guess what? She couldn't close them. She couldn't close them, so they didn't join my team. This is what happened. Well, guess what? About several months later, these people came back, realized she was serious, and said, okay, we will be on their front line. And then this person, thinking they might get found out about what happened, they said to Sarah, they said, you know what? We were testing her. We told her we wanted to be on her front line, but we were testing her. We were going to see. So just be careful. Be careful of what people are saying and promising. Okay, number 5. Number 5 is a swap. 5 is a swap. Now, any other details about enrollers, about the last one, canceling? Oh, I will tell you this about canceling. If you cancel a spot, this is what happens. I can write into doTERRA right now and say, I want you to cancel my spot. Is it the same as letting your spot, like you don't order for 6 months? No, because if I say I want to cancel it, I could, it's an exception, I could get special permission to get moved out of that spot now. And if there are serious relationship issues like abuse going on or something, then they will let that happen for sure. They don't want anybody being damaged because of it. But normally what will happen is if you're going to cancel, they might tell you you have to wait a certain amount. They'll cancel it now so those changes start to happen, but that person still shows up for 6 months. There are different ways that they can make it work. But if the person doesn't cancel, they could wait out for 6 months. Let's say that you are trying to cancel an account because they don't want to do anything, they just want to buy oils, and the people underneath them are going to roll up, and you want that. If that's what you all are trying to do, then if doTERRA won't allow for a cancellation exception, then you can let that person stop ordering, but they have to wait 6 months. What happens is if they stop ordering for 6 months, at 6 months, they can then send an email to doTERRA. It has to be the email that they are signed up with in doTERRA. They have to send an email to doTERRA and say, it's been 6 months since I ordered, I want you to take my account off. And they will end it right then. But if the person hasn't ordered for 12 months, then you don't even have to get permission, the person drops off. You'll notice sometimes they forget to go get all those people off, so it might still show up as being there. Then you need to let doTERRA know, but that's not an exception, that's just a given. You will get that. Okay, the swap. A swap looks like this. If this is me, I hope you guys are writing every possible option under every issue leg that you have. If this is me, I've got some different legs going on. I've got mom, right? Not my mom. Maybe Mom Smith, okay? I've got Mom Smith here, and I've got Jennifer Smith. This is daughter Smith. And let's say daughter Smith is growing like crazy because mom came to the class. She invited her daughter, so of course her daughter's under the mom. Well, she's growing, and she has grown huge. And let's say she's silver or above. Maybe she's diamond, maybe she's silver, whatever. Let's just say silver. She's silver, she's got 3 solid legs, she's almost gold. And these guys want to do a swap. What a swap means is they trade places, and that is all. That is all. If mom has other legs here, let's say she's got 2 weak legs that aren't really doing anything. They're just small, and 1 big leg. Is mom silver? No, mom's elite. Mom's elite. So if these 2 swap, none of these other legs underneath them swap. None. These guys trade places, and that is it. That means now daughter is elite. Daughter has this enrollership, and daughter has this enrollership, and this enrollership. Daughter used to have these 3 solid leg enrollerships. So does daughter now have these? No. Who has these enrollerships? Mom. Because a swap doesn't change anything else. So now mom is the silver, daughter is the elite. So you see why this is not one of the top options. People don't usually want to do this.
Unless mom had a pretty big team and she might be getting older and she doesn't want to manage that team anymore, then putting the daughter up into mom's spot so the daughter could have the team and manage the team, that would be a way to
That's exactly right. Yeah, so maybe it's a better situation for the daughter, worse situation for the mom if the teams are built that way. Then you compensate the mom in several different ways. It could be that Jennifer gives her, or the daughter, whoever her name is, gives the mom a percentage of the check every month. Could be that mom gets all her oils for free and she's just happy for her daughter to be successful. So this is normally not win-win. It's usually win-lose for somebody. Okay, so he's telling me my time's up, so I'll just finish these. And then what I want you to do is, I want you to, I'll try to get on this week more. Last week I didn't get on much because I was finishing the content for those videos. I'll get on the Facebook group more to answer questions in detail, so be watching for my answers.
Because next week's Thanksgiving, there's no training.
Okay,
so
thanks. Next week, no training because it's Thanksgiving. It's the week after that, but that gives you time to start trying to see what you can do to fix it. Now what you're gonna do is, as you start going through your teams, thinking what you can do to fix these, other questions will come up and you'll say, well, I was thinking of using an enrollership change, but then this would happen, and what about this, and is this allowed, and that kind of thing, okay? So I'll just finish these last few things. Let's say, again, this is almost always a win-lose. So why would somebody want to do that? Why would they even want to do that? Why would daughter want to move in this spot? She's already silver, she's fine. I'll tell you, usually, the only reason is they want to work with the upline leader. They want to be my front line. They know what that means. They know what they're going to get out of that, and that's worth it to them. That's usually the only reason. Now, the only other reason usually that people are doing this is if the one that Roger just explained, mom has a big team, doesn't want to worry about it and do it anymore. Daughter's is small, swap. Why wouldn't I want that to happen? Because has the daughter proven that she's going to be a good front line? No, she's not doing this. So I would not encourage that depending on the situation, okay? Number 6, so be thinking about all this. Now, what is our goal of placements? Time freedom. So if any change that you are trying to do is going to suck your time freedom, that is not the best choice for you. So if daughter is the one who has the little team and mom built the big team, is that going to suck my time freedom if I encourage them to swap? You bet it will, because daughter has already proven she's not building like she should for a frontline person. And daughter's awesome, whatever she's done, that's great, but that's not frontline. Okay. Number 6 is, this is just more of a tip. Wait a minute. This is more of a tip, and it's called a frontline cleanup. This is actually something doTERRA will do for you, and several of your questions kind of were related to this. This is what happens. You start, let's say you haven't had training on placements. You don't know what's going on. So for those of you who are confused because you're brand new and this is sort of confusing, you just be glad that you get to see some of this so that you at least in the back of your mind know there's something about that. And when you come upon things, you'll go, okay, wait, I know this matters. I better check, you know, that kind of thing. So, frontline cleanup. So you didn't know, you signed up a bunch of wholesale customers on your front line. 2 of those people have upgraded to be a wellness advocate. 1 of them grew and got big, and then this person had some people on their front line, and then you had somebody who said they were going to build, and then they stopped. Then you had somebody else who was a sharer, and you thought that was a good place to put them on your front line. So you've got, you guys, I've seen people who have 50 people on their front line. This is because they didn't know. Okay, they've got tons of people on their front line. Well, what doTERRA will do is they will give you a one-time frontline cleanup. And what that doesn't mean they'll do every single thing you want them to do, but these are all your front line. It's not going to hurt anybody above you to move them underneath existing legs. Now, they won't let you do it after you've hit silver. Usually if you're silver and above, well, maybe at silver. And you don't want to do it too soon. If you're brand new and you have 5 people on your front line, do you want to use up your one-time frontline cleanup right now? No, wait till you've made more mistakes and you've figured a few things out and you've gone, oh, I've got a little bit more of a mess than I meant to have. Wait until maybe a little bit before silver, right around there. You gauge it, but you should be gaining a relationship with your account manager, and then you work with them to do a frontline cleanup. It is an exception. They have to okay it. So it's not like, oh, you just get it, it's automatic, but they do allow everybody to do that. So don't be a problem child, but so next time what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start off with some tips about how to work with doTERRA, how to get what you want, how to not get on the naughty list so that they don't wanna hear from you. And I'll teach you some things about that. And then, so next time, so I knew we wouldn't be able to get to, we'd probably just finish this, but next time, because all I have to do is go over how not to get on the naughty list and how to work with doTERRA, the entire rest of the time, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work with you on your list that you just created. So I hope you really did create it. And if you didn't, go back, watch this again and create it. This one. if you really have made a list of the different options you can do, then I am going to go through, we're gonna spend most of the time, I'll say, okay, give me your question. So have your questions ready, written out, because the people who are live will get first option for me to answer their questions, and we will go through each of your problems one at a time and fix those, okay? I'll spend about half of our question time on that, maybe more, and then I'll spend about maybe 20 minutes or however much time we have left on like a team, a pretty normal existing team that we have made up that has most of the problems. Because I get that not everybody wants to share their problem. Maybe your sister's listening and she's one of the ones that you want to talk about. You can't always do that. So we're gonna, we'll have a setup for you so that we can go, okay, if you have a leg like this, that you're propping, that you are, okay? And I'll just tell you this, I'll end by telling you this. If you are afraid to start a new leg, you've got to change your perspective, you guys. Change your perspective. If you can't trust that, then at least trust me just for a minute until you see the fast track training. When you see the fast track training, and for sure, my goal is to have it up before Black Friday. So I told you that the one on the website is going to be $197, but I'm going to slash it to $97. I'm going to take $100 off. We'll do that as a Black Friday thing. And even if it's not quite up, I'm going to have it as like a pre-sale. Okay, so that anybody can do that. And remember, the short basic versions will start going up on YouTube. And like I promised, I will put up the sampling effectively, that one first on YouTube, the long version. So just be prepared, because that one is more time consuming. And hopefully you guys, you get excited about some of these things. If you have questions about some of the rules and regulations about these moves, then write them on the Facebook group, write them on this thread, because my office team always gets this together for me. In fact, it's Olivia. She gets them all together for me and shows me all the questions that you guys have so that I can combine them together and answer those. Hopefully you guys, for those of you who've been waiting for the night where we got to talk about the fixes, there are some major things you can do. So starting next week, first thing I will probably do is I'll show you not the problem team that we're gonna fix, but I'll show you an existing team that's very similar to something that actually happened, where because of the way it was set up, they were almost gold, and they really thought they were gonna have to start completely over. They thought they had to start brand new legs for every single thing. And as we went through, like a chess game, using all of these tactics, there were probably about 10 or 12 things that we had to do. And by the time that she would be done, she'd be almost blue diamond. So don't give up on these options. They can be powerful. Just because you had a mess or you made a mistake, don't let that be something that says, oh, I have to start all over. There are awesome fixes that are just as powerful as placing correctly in the first place. Okay, you guys have a great night. Thanks for staying with me. And for those of you who are on different time zones, you guys rock, and sorry to keep you up so late.